Welcome into Phil's Tax Hacks and Other Retirement Facts with CPA and personal financial specialist, Phil Putney. Now let's get rolling with today's show. Back for another edition of Phil's Tax Hacks and Other Retirement Facts. And Phil, I got 3 questions for you that are basically the same question. Slight variations. So I thought this would be interesting, right? Yeah, because this is probably what you see every week. So it's basically 3 people wanting to know if they can retire in this calendar year, right? Okay. In 2026. Now we're already like almost halfway, through the year. So hopefully these folks have gotten some guidance aside from just when they sent this stuff to us. And of course we're repurposing the conversations here on the podcast, but interesting stuff. Cause again, like it's so many people find themselves in this kind of situation. So it's super relatable, right? Yep. And it's just, again, slight variations of the same basic question. Can I retire?
Yeah. It's always the question. Can I do it?
And how soon? Yeah. Right? So let me do the setup here, and I'll read you. We got some graphics we'll throw up as well. Okay. I'll read you the question here. We'll dive into them one at a time. All right. So question number 1. Phil, I've been planning to retire this year for a while now, but my savings aren't where I want them. My house is paid off. Kids are grown, but with everything happening in the markets and the economy, and of course politically right now, I'm second guessing my timing. I just wonder if 2026 is a bad year to retire just because of everything out there. And this is that classic kind of, the math seems to be there, Phil, but the external fears make people pause, right?
Yeah, and I've dealt with this with clients many times. In fact, we probably mentioned the one client the wife actually retired. Mm-hmm. Finally, we've been working with him for almost 10 years. He retired 2 to 3 years into the plan like we expected, but she just couldn't do it. She's that scenario of every year tell her the same thing. Hey, the numbers are there. There's, you can retire whenever you want. You do not need to work to make things financially work. It's there. But she was always just afraid of, what happens if, or what.
Sure, totally understandable.
That's something that, we as the advisor, we can show the math, we can help you get to that point, but at the end of the day, it's something you still have to be comfortable with. Right. And that's nothing that we're trying to do what we can do to help you maybe get there, but you have to be able to reconcile that and say, yeah, it does really work. And it's a big decision.
Yeah, for sure.
All your life, you've got this paycheck coming in every month, whatever, weekly, whatever it is. And to not have that, for some people, it's just that security blanket of, I don't know if this is going to work.
Well, so Phil, so the arc here, right, is leaning towards yes, because again, the math sounds like the math has already been done. Maybe not, but I'm just kind of reading between the lines. But again, savings is where he wants them. House is paid off. Kids are grown. Sounds like he's in a good place. And I guess that would be the pushback. It's like, okay, are you basing that off of the stuff that you've done, or have you actually sat down with an advisor and know for 100% that all this stuff is good? I mean, I know there's no such thing as 100%, I guess, but knowing that everything is in really good shape, and now you're just wrestling with the internal fear again of, it's choppy and crazy out there. But isn't that the point of a plan, Phil? I guess I would ask you, because it's always choppy and crazy.
Yeah, if you're waiting for a time that things are good, it's not going to happen.
You're going to wait forever.
It's good, but then this is what markets do. They go up, they go down. You're always having this volatility. It's just part of retirement. It's part of investing. I mean, the difference is, as you've been working and investing, you can ride through it. Because you're just accumulating, right? You're not needing the money. But when you get to retirement, I can understand the concern of, what if I retire and 2008 happens again? Yeah, that could be a concern if you haven't positioned things properly for your plan in retirement. So that's where you have to have the plan first, run the math on reasonable assumptions to see, does it work? Is it feasible with reasonable expectations? And if so, then make sure things are positioned properly. We talk about the bucket scenario several times. And that's really what hedges that concern of, what happens if the market, falls? I'm kind of reading into what they're talking of.
Because you'll stress test.
Maybe a bad year. Yeah, we can stress test and run the math to see, hey, would this have worked in those kind of scenarios?
So like if, obviously there's no way of knowing. So like for this person, this gentleman here, so it's like, hey, okay, so if you go into retirement and next year in 27, the market takes a fall, let's run some projections, right? You can kind of project that out. But again, like anything in life, there's just no guarantees. So at some point, you got to make a decision.
Yeah. I mean, you have to make a decision, get comfortable with it. And it's a big decision. It's a huge transition. But yeah, you have to, you're never going to be 100%. I mean, it just doesn't exist because we don't control. There's a lot of variables we don't control. Markets are one of them. We can hedge and there's ways to protect so that if, or when I should say, because it's going to happen, we run into these downturns, the bear markets, it doesn't affect your long-term retirement. Are you going to see accounts go down? Sure. It's just investing, but it shouldn't be the accounts that you need to live on today. So
yeah, it sounds like a person like this is in good shape. They just are kind of struggling with maybe that final hurdle. So that's kind of like that one aspect where the arc is from the information's leaning towards, you're good. You just got to kind of work on that personal, moment, right?
Right. I mean, it's run the numbers. If you're not working with an advisor, start there,
for sure.
And walk through some scenarios to find out, first, what do I need to live on? And then out of that, how much is covered by Social Security? And then if you've got a pension.
Right.
Because then the only piece really affected potentially by the market is going to be that difference, that you need to make up that shortfall between here's what I need. Well, here's what this guaranteed income, right? Social Security and pension.
Right.
If you need $8,000 a month, but between Social Security and pension, you're already getting $5,000. And, I don't remember if he was married or not, but, if married, I mean, I've got clients that are getting over $5,000 for a married couple, easily. I've got clients getting over $7,000 as a married couple, depending on kind of where you're at from Social Security. So don't overthink it, run the math first and we tend to do this, right? We always look at, the problems. But what if? Okay, yeah.
Sure.
But have you really run the math to see what the probability of that what if is? And if it happens, how does it affect you?
Okay. All right.
It might not affect him that much at all.
It may not. Right. Yeah. So hopefully he's done that already. But if not, please reach out to Phil ASAP because, again, it's like halfway into the year already.
Right.
So.
Yep.
And, of course, it's not like you couldn't push it back a little bit, but make sure you do your diligence. Right.
Right.
All right. So question 2, basically the same question, but just a slightly different concern. Right.
Sure.
I'm 64, tired. and honestly, just done with work. My retirement accounts look good, and my spouse, married, and I have been dreaming about this for years. But when I sit down and picture my days in retirement, I'm not totally sure what I'd do with myself. My whole identity is wrapped up in my career. The money side feels okay. It's the other side I can't figure out. So Phil, again, almost like the first one, the money sounds like it's there. Now, again, double check and run all those numbers. This one, again, is about the internal, but a different aspect of the internal. Now it's just like, who am I without what I do, I guess.
Right. Well, and I always, when I'm talking to clients about retirement, I ask, what are you going to retire to? Mm-hmm. And that's the big concern. That's kind of where this is going is you can't just retire, right? Retire and do nothing because.
Well, we all want to for a short time, right?
Yeah, for a short time, just to kind of no alarms, get up when your body says and be on that permanent vacation. But that only lasts so long, right? I mean, you can only sleep in, you can only do, so much on the honey-do list and whatever before it's like, okay, what do I do? What do I fill my day with?
Right.
So I always ask clients, okay, if money wasn't an option, right? You didn't have to worry about money or concern. What would you do? What is your passion? What do you like to do? And it's got to go beyond the hobbies, right? Because, golf, I golf all day. Okay, that's great. But I've had clients that say that. Number one, it's expensive.
Yeah, sure.
If that's the case, make sure you build that in. But, I've had clients that all of a sudden they're on, 4 or 5 golf leagues. That gets to be a job almost, right? And it's like, this is not fun anymore, right? It's
burnout sets in.
It's not the enjoyment that it once was.
Yeah, if you do your hobby, if you do your hobby so much that you start getting tired of it, then it's no longer fun, and that defeats the purpose.
It's a job, So I mean, it's you got to think beyond that of okay, well, what's a passion, right? What do you like to do? So I had a client that liked to fish, and talk to different people about running like fishing businesses and, the charter businesses. And it's hard to make kind of a profit at that. So that's what he did. He's like, yeah, I'll do a charter business. I don't have to worry about making a profit, but at least you get some guys to, girls, whatever, to go out with you fishing. They pay for part of it. You get to do what you like to do and maybe get a little bit of money on the side. It doesn't matter if it makes money. I'm not in it for the money. I'm in it for the enjoyment, and I like to teach people to fish. There you go.
It's the work optional thing, if you will.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's really, that to me, I think people get caught up in retirement is I'm no longer working, period.
Yeah.
Well, no, that's not retirement. Retirement is you work when and if you want. Right? It's on your terms.
Yeah, for sure.
So retire from your main career, but if you still like whatever that main career is, then find where you can use your skills and talents, maybe at a charitable.
Yeah, not very true.
Charity, they need whatever your talent is. So,
well, again, this one's also about internal readiness, kind of like the first one. The ARC is a little more nuanced. Sounds like the finances say yes, but again, without purpose, that's a kind of risk, right? Yes. So we think about market risk, we think about taxation risk, all that longevity risk. Well, I guess boredom risk or purpose risk, if you will, right? You need to have something, to your point. So,
well, and statistics prove out that those people that just retire to the chair, so to speak, right? They do nothing.
Yeah.
They don't have as long of a lifespan, which makes sense because you no longer have that drive, that purpose that gets you up in the morning and, that focus of what you're going to do next. So,
yeah, for sure. For sure.
We as humans, we need that. We need something to feel like we're needed and we're working towards.
The Tax Smart Retiree is your comprehensive guide to mastering tax efficiency for a flourishing retirement. You will find indispensable advice and actionable strategies designed to enhance tax savings, maximize Social Security benefits, protect against market volatility, and develop a customized retirement plan. To get your free ebook, click the link in the show notes of today's episode and download your copy of the Tax Smart Retiree right now.
Yeah, you have to have something. We all make those jokes and comments about how it'd be great to sit around and do nothing, but at some point, it does get tiresome.
Right.
And as you age, we all know, if you're over 50, you all know it's like, just moving the wrong way. Sometimes you're like, okay, I'm kind of sore. But also sitting too long, you go, I'm kind of sore, right?
Oh, yeah.
So,
if you don't use it, you're going to lose it. So.
That's for sure. That's for sure. All right. Question number 3. Again, all 3 basically the same kind of thing or same kind of idea. Can I retire this year? And what's the hurdle, right? It's really the individual hurdle. Here's a question. My financial advisor says I'm close to ready, but there are a few things still unresolved. I'll be 63 in June. My Medicare doesn't kick in until 65, so we got a little hurdle there. Yep. And I'm 18 months away from being fully vested in my pension. Now, my gut says to retire. The head says to wait. What do you tell somebody in my situation? So, Phil, this one is way more specific. We got some more information. There's some closable gaps here,
right?
But it sounds like the ARC is on the wait, just maybe not indefinitely. So how do you kind of work through these?
Number one, you got to run the math, right? So talk about Social Security or Medicare.
Yeah.
I mean, I can tell you the math right there, right? We know what Medicare is going to cost.
Okay.
And we know.
And you got 2 years in this situation.
Right, 2 years. So we can go to the marketplace today and we can find out what it's going to cost you to get coverage on the marketplace. Now, with 2 years, depending on the company you're coming from, you should be able to take COBRA for 18 months. So with COBRA, that should be more feasible than what the marketplace is and better coverage. But again, so all of this comes down to math, right? It costs more money to retire pre-65 from a healthcare standpoint. Kind of general high-level numbers. I mean, for a married couple today in your 60s, you're probably looking at somewhere anywhere from $1,500 to $2,200 for marketplace coverage. And that's not great coverage, right? That's going to be a pretty high deductible. Versus going to Medicare, I mean, you can get your Medicare Part B, a good supplemental plan, and depending on drug scenarios, but you're maybe all in at $400 per person. And that's perfect coverage. I mean, it covers everything, So again, it's knowing options and then running the math to see, okay, what does this look like? Yeah, it's going to cost more to retire early, but can I do it? The next thing from the pension, kind of the same concept. I mean,
yeah,
18 months from being fully vested. Well, what does that mean? I mean, are you
what does that mean?
Vested?
Yeah.
So you're getting an extra 10%, or is it like you're 75% vested? So it's going to, you get an extra 25%. That's a big number for 18 months. Again, so it comes down to running the math and then understanding, okay, if I retire today, what does it look like?
That's a great point, Phil. I hadn't thought about that. So like if you're really if you're really close, maybe you don't need that 10%. Maybe you've got other things that kind of cover it. So are you really sticking around for that? But is that along with the Medicare thing, does that kind of maybe frame that picture to go, can you hang out for another year, 12 months or whatever, right?
Yeah. And I'm glad that this individual is actually asking the questions, because too often I've seen where, somebody is just, they're done. I can't do it anymore. I'm done.
Yeah.
Without really running the math to say, okay, I'm sorry, it doesn't work. You're going to have to go back and get a part-time job for a while, or whatever the case is, to bridge this gap from health insurance or whatever the case is.
And that could be an option here too, obviously. Right. But
yeah, I mean, it could be an option. And that's the point, is there are many options. Don't let your mind race and wonder and but I don't know. And all these concerns. Run the math, work with an advisor. They can help you walk through what these different options look like and what the waiting potentially looks like. Because obviously waiting till that age 65, and I'm assuming it sounds like that's around that 18-month time frame. 65 is usually
probably pretty
full
close,
retirement, they call it for most pensions.
Yeah.
So if you know the math, and that's really the key, knowing the math of what today looks like, what it looks like if I wait to 65, now you've got the information to make the informed decision to say, yeah, I'm really done. But if I wait till 65, it means, I get an extra $1,000, whatever it is a month for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
It can be a big deal. Run the numbers to see, is it worth the wait, is what it comes down to.
Yeah. Well, we have basically two kind of mental hurdles, slightly different, and one maybe more financial one here. So again, at the end of the day, it's the same basic question. If retiring in 2026 is on your mind, your version of the question is the one that matters most. It's going to be slight variations to it.
Right.
And while it has its own wrinkles, its own gaps, its own versions of I'm almost ready, that's exactly the point of working with a qualified professional like Phil and others. There's lots of, great folks out there. Find out the math first, as we always talk about. And then maybe that helps you, Phil, with the first two questions, with the kind of more the emotional. And then for the third one here, definitely the math, because again, that's going to give you're just armed with the information to now make the emotional decision.
And sometimes having that math in place and knowing that, okay, this is what I'm waiting for. It's 18 months. Yeah, I'm not going to like it, but put it on the calendar and mark the days off, right?
There you go.
At least here's the date, and this is why I'm doing it. It means whatever it is. So
there you go. Great point. Well, at the end of the day, you need the math. You need some help. Talk with a qualified professional. Especially don't go it alone. If you're on the fence, go seek some help. That's why so many advisors offer complimentary consultations and reviews. See if they're the right fit for you. You're the right fit for them. All that good stuff. Reach out to Phil. He'd be happy to chat with you. He helps clients all over the country, not just in the Michigan area. So just reach out to him. There's links down below. Go to philstaxhacks.com. That's the podcast website, but you can get in touch with him on his main website there as well. And we got all that information in the show descriptions down below. Hit the subscribers, thumbs up button and all that good stuff so you catch new episodes when they come out, whether it's on Apple, Spotify, or right here on YouTube. And we'll see you later here on Phil's Tax Hacks and other retirement facts. Phil, my friend, talk to you soon.
Take care.
Phil? Investment advisory services offered through AFS Wealth Management. The content of this program is provided for informational purposes only and is not a solicitation or recommendation of any investment strategy. Investments and/or investment strategies involve risk, including the possible loss of principal. There is no assurance that any investment strategy will achieve its objectives.